Right, diving right in today. We're going to be looking at consumer decision making.
Yeah.
How do people decide to buy something?
Fascinating stuff.
And we've got a great article that lays this all out called The Consumer Decision Making Process, Part 1. It's by the Procure for marketing team.
Mm-hmm.
And this is part 1 of 3. So whether you're, trying to market a product or just kind of curious about your own buying habits, I think you'll find this pretty interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Especially now, I mean, with just the sheer amount of choice that's out there and the information overload, it's kind of a science in itself.
Yeah. So this article, like I was saying, it lays out a 5-step process, starting with need recognition, then information search, evaluation of alternatives, the purchase decision, and then after you buy something, what happens? That's the post-purchase behavior.
Right.
So today we're going to be focusing on those first 2 stages, need recognition and information search.
Yeah, those are really important ones because, that's where the foundation is laid. The consumer figures out, hey, I've got this need, and then where do I find information about it?
Right, exactly. So let's start with need recognition. And, this isn't just, I want something, right? It's more than just wanting stuff.
No, it's deeper than that.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing there's this gap between where you're at right now and this ideal state,
Right.
what you wish things were like.
And that gap can be triggered by, all sorts of things, right? Internal, external.
Absolutely.
You could run out of toothpaste.
Yeah.
Or you could be aspiring to, become a rock climber or something.
Totally.
Like the article uses this example. I love this example of getting caught in the rain without an umbrella. And all of a sudden,
Yeah.
you don't just want an umbrella.
You need it.
You need it, and you need it now.
Right, exactly.
Like that want becomes an urgent need.
Yeah, and that's a great example of an external trigger, something that happens to you that suddenly creates this urgent need. But, there are internal triggers too. Marketers try to tap into those underlying desires and aspirations we all have.
Look at Apple. Apple is like the masters of this.
Oh, absolutely.
They're not just selling you a product, they're selling you
A whole lifestyle.
a whole lifestyle.
An image.
Yeah.
They've cultivated this really powerful brand identity
Mm-hmm.
that resonates with people who value creativity, innovation, that sense of community.
Right. So if I have this sleek new MacBook,
Yeah.
I'm going to be more productive, more artistic.
Yeah.
Maybe even a little cooler.
Exactly. And that's how they influence our perception of need. Suddenly, it's not just about having a computer, it's about having that computer.
Yeah. Okay, so let's say you've recognized a need, whatever it may be. The next step is information search.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where, the internet has just completely changed the game.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Think about it. We've gone from limited sources of information, talking to friends, seeing a few ads in a magazine or whatever, to this vast ocean of information online.
Right.
Reviews, comparisons, demos, you name it. It's all at our fingertips.
I spend way too much time on Amazon, I think.
Yeah.
Reading reviews, looking at different models before I'll commit to anything.
And the article talks about Amazon specifically because they really get this, they understand this need. Amazon's not just a store anymore. It's this massive research hub.
Right. They've got algorithms, recommendation engines.
Right.
They've got all these review systems.
Oh, shaping our choices. And for a lot of consumers, they're like a gatekeeper almost. They're the ones that determine what products we even see.
It's like they've turned shopping into this huge research project.
Yeah.
Which, can be a bit overwhelming.
It can be.
But it also, it puts a lot of pressure on companies now
Oh, absolutely.
to be transparent,
Yeah.
to give you all the information.
If a company's not doing that, if they're not being clear, if they're not providing good photos,
Yeah.
genuine reviews, consumers are going to go somewhere else.
Right. They have the power.
They have all the power now. That's so interesting. Just in these first 2 stages, we see how need and marketing and all this information are all intertwined. It's really making me rethink how I make my own decisions.
Yeah. It's really fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It really makes you think about how much more in control, I guess, the consumer is now.
Right.
It's not just like passively taking in messages. It's about really going out there and trying to find the information you need.
And that puts a lot of pressure on companies now and marketers. They can't just put out a flashy ad anymore.
No, definitely not.
They really have to give you something, give you real value.
Provide value and build trust.
Yeah, build that trust.
If you want any chance of, convincing people to buy your product.
So for businesses, that's one of the key takeaways here. You got to understand that information need.
Absolutely.
and really cater to that.
And cater to it in a way that's, authentic and transparent.
Yeah. Okay. So we've covered need recognition.
We've covered information search. Before we move on to the next stage,
Yeah.
I'm curious, what's really stood out to you so far about these early steps in the consumer's journey?
I think what's really fascinating to me is the level of influence that happens even before the consumer, is even thinking about specific products. The way a need is framed, the information that's highlighted, it really kind of sets the stage for what choices are even perceived as possible.
Oh, that's a really good point. It's like setting the stage before the play even begins.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why I think for us as consumers, it's so important to be aware of that, to be aware of those influences and ask yourself, where did this need come from? Am I being, swayed by some clever marketing tactic? What information am I focusing on and why?
Become a more conscious consumer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really think about what's driving your decisions.
And on the flip side,
Yeah.
for businesses,
Yeah.
it's about, being ethical, being transparent
Yeah, absolutely.
with how you present your products and services.
Yeah. Meeting genuine needs, not creating artificial ones.
Right. Okay, so that's a great segue into, I guess, what this all means for both sides,
Yeah.
for the consumer and the business. So if we had to boil it down, what are some key takeaways here?
Well, for consumers, like we've been talking about, it's all about awareness, right? Being aware of how marketing is influencing you, how the information that you're seeing, that you're reading, is shaping your choices. Be a critical thinker. Question your assumptions.
Yeah.
Don't just buy on autopilot.
Don't be swayed by that flashy ad or that, influencer with a glowing review without really doing your own reading.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then for businesses, it's about understanding that consumers they're smarter than ever. They're doing their research. So being transparent, being authentic,
Yeah.
providing genuine value,
Mm-hmm.
those are the keys to building trust and loyalty.
So it's not just about pushing your product. It's really about empowering the consumer to make the best decision for themselves.
Yeah.
Okay, so much to think about already. And we've only covered the first 2 stages of this 5-step process. We're about to get into, the nitty-gritty,
Yeah.
the evaluation of alternatives, the actual purchase decision, and then what happens after the purchase.
The aftermath.
Yeah. But before we jump into all of that, we want to hear from you, the listener. What's resonating with you so far? Have you ever caught yourself being influenced by marketing in a way that you didn't even realize? Share your thoughts with us on social media.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
We'll be right back with the rest of this fascinating deep dive into consumer behavior.
Don't go away.
Okay, welcome back to our deep dive into the consumer decision-making process.
All right, so we've made it to the final 3 stages. This is where it gets really interesting. The consumer's got to make a choice and then reflect on the whole experience.
Right, so stage 3, evaluation of alternatives. I mean, this has got to be kind of overwhelming for the consumer, right?
Right, yeah. Totally.
I mean, they've done all this research. They understand their needs. But now it's like, okay, which one do I choose?
So many options.
Yeah, so many options.
It's like, I don't know, standing in the cereal aisle at the grocery store or something. You've got the healthy option, the one with the cartoon mascot, the one that's on sale. So many factors to consider.
And this is where marketers, really have to
Yeah, they've got to up their game,
step up their game.
make their product stand out,
Yeah, make it stand out.
show why it's unique, why it's desirable.
Right? Anticipate those questions.
Yeah.
Address those concerns.
Yeah. Maybe even debunk some myths about the product category.
Right. It's not just about listing features and benefits anymore.
Oh,
It's about really understanding how the consumer makes decisions.
yeah.
What are their criteria? And how does your product fit into that?
You got to frame it in a way that resonates.
Yeah.
You got to tell a story, create an emotional connection, show the consumer how this product's going to make their life better, solve their problems.
Okay, so let's say the consumers, they've narrowed down their choices. They've done the evaluation.
Yeah.
They're ready to pull the trigger.
Right, to commit.
What happens in that moment?
Yeah.
Purchase decision.
Well, it depends. It depends on the product, the person, of course.
Right.
But generally, it's a moment of commitment. The consumer saying, okay, I choose this. I'm willing to spend my money on this.
What influences that final yes?
It could be, rational things like price, functionality, how valuable they think it is.
Right.
But it could also be emotional, brand loyalty, trust, maybe even a sense of excitement.
So it's not always a purely logical decision.
No, not always.
There's often that emotional element.
Yeah, and smart marketers know that. And they'll try to, create a sense of urgency or make
Yeah.
it feel like an experience.
Right. Okay. But the journey doesn't end there. All right. We've got one more stage. Post-purchase behavior.
Yeah, this one's often forgotten, but it's crucial. This is where the consumer thinks about, was I happy with this?
Mm.
Did it live up to my expectations? Would I recommend this to somebody else?
And this is where businesses, I think, can really set themselves apart if they can create that really positive
Yeah.
post-purchase experience.
Yeah, follow-up emails, maybe a special offer for loyal customers. Even just a little handwritten thank you note.
Show the customer that you appreciate them.
Yeah, that you're not just trying to make a quick sale. You actually care about their satisfaction.
Just about building that relationship.
Exactly.
So there you have it. The 5 stages of the consumer decision-making process. From, this first spark of need to reflecting on the purchase.
It's quite the journey.
Quite the journey.
And it's one we all go through.
Yeah,
Constantly,
completely.
countless times. And I think the more we understand it,
Yeah.
the better consumers we can be.
We can make better choices.
Yeah.
Choices that are right for us.
Choices that align with our values.
And for businesses. I mean, this is crucial information. You can really use this to create marketing strategies that connect with people,
That really resonate.
that build trust, and ultimately drive sales.
It's about connecting with people,
Yeah.
not just manipulating them.
Well, I think this deep dive has given us a lot to think about.
Definitely.
Maybe you'll approach your next shopping trip a little differently now.
Yeah, be a little more aware.
Remember, every purchase is a decision.
And every decision has power.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'd love to hear your thoughts. What are your biggest takeaways? How do you make decisions as a consumer? Share your stories with us on social media. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives
Yeah, we've got lots more to explore.
and all sorts of fascinating topics.
Until next time.
Happy deep diving.